This is part 4 of our series, Why It's Not Avoidant, It's Narcissism in Disguise. Now, so far, we've talked about why narcissists get mistaken for avoidant and how they use that label to manipulate you and how to tell the difference by watching their patterns. But now it's time for the most important part, because this isn't just a misunderstanding of attachment styles. This confusion is keeping people stuck in emotionally abusive relationships, convinced they're loving someone who's just afraid of intimacy. Now, let's talk about what really happens when you misidentify narcissism as avoidant attachment. First, let's be honest. Most people who get caught in this dynamic know they're being mistreated. They've said it's toxic. They said it's painful. They've described the emotional shutdowns, the blame shifting, the power plays, but they've labeled it all as dismissive avoidant attachment because that's where their partner told them or what they told themselves. So instead of calling it what it really is, they frame the harm as part of a trauma pattern. They say things like, they're not cruel, they're scared. They push me away because they've been hurt. They just need more time, safety, love. I know they care deep down, but here's the truth. They're not confused about what's happening. They're confused about why it's happening. And that confusion is what keeps them trapped. When you believe you're dealing with an avoidant, you start minimizing your own pain. You override your gut. You second guess your needs. You bend over backward to avoid triggering them. And the narcissists, they feed that confusion with lines like, this is my trauma. You're making it worse. You're too much. You're pushing me away. You don't respect my need for space. Now you're apologizing for wanting closeness. You're carrying the emotional weight of the relationship alone, and you're blaming yourself for their destructive behavior. This is a trauma bond made stronger by gaslighting and built on the wrong label. Now, if you're avoidant and you're watching this, you might be thinking, is this me? Let me be clear. If you're asking that question, it probably isn't. So here's how you know. If you shut down to protect yourself, not to punish others, if you feel guilt when you hurt someone, even if you can't express it, if you're actively trying to understand your patterns and grow, you're not a narcissist. You're avoidant. And avoidant attachment can heal. Narcissists don't self-reflect like that. Avoidants often overthink. The fact that you're here tells me a lot. Getting this wrong has consequences. Survivors leave the relationship but stay confused. Calling narcissistic abuse avoidant attachment and blaming the wrong thing. Real avoidants carry shame they don't deserve, wondering if they are secretly manipulative. And narcissists continue to hide in plain sight because the label avoidant buys them more time, more grace, and more control. You can't break free from abuse if you don't know you're being manipulated. And you can't build secure attachment if the foundation is built on false labels and self-blame. Clarity is the beginning of healing for both survivors and avoidants, because no one gets better in the dark. If their pattern felt cold, punishing, or cruel, but you kept calling it dismissive avoidant, you didn't imagine the harm, you just named it wrong. Sometimes that label came from you. Sometimes it came from them, because narcissists know that calling their abuse attachment trauma keeps you guessing, apologizing, and staying. And if you are an avoidant and you know your survival patterns have hurt people, that doesn't make you narcissistic, but it does mean it's time to stop running from the impact. You don't need more time, but you do need to be honest, because that's where real healing starts. The truth matters for the one trying to heal, for the one trying to grow, and for the one finally ready to stop carrying the shame of someone else's disgust.